Good morning. Lesson 12 today. I had a look. The next quiz is after number 17. So if you're having problems, get in touch with me before lesson 17, okay? Today, super easy. I told you before, ratios, like a ratio of 1 to 2, is actually just a fraction on its side, right? Hope you can see that. It's hard for me to see. So today, we're going to be working on equivalent ratios, which are equivalent fractions on their side. You guys have done lots of equivalent fractions. So just as a quick review, 1/3, if I need to make that into an equivalent fraction, I can choose any number in the world and multiply the top and number by it and get an equivalent fraction. So let's keep it easy and just do 2. 2 times 2 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. That's an equivalent fraction. If I was writing it as a ratio, I'd go 1 to 3 equals 2 to 6. Okay? Exactly the same thing, just think about it as a fraction laid on its side. Instead of a line, you got 2 dots. Okay? So in question 1, write an equivalent ratio by multiplying each term by the same number. It doesn't tell you what number. You can pick one. I use 2 just because it's easy. So in the first one, they give you 3 to 4. And then they want you to fill in what the two new numbers would be. Well, if we times them both by 2, 3 times 2 would give me 6, 4 times 2 would give me 8. Okay? So just to keep it simple, for B, C, and D, times each of the numbers by 2 and get your new ratio, your equivalent ratio. Okay? Pause the video, go to number 1. Okay, right, number 2, write an equivalent ratio by dividing each term by the same number. You're going to do the exact same thing you did in the first question, but now we're going to divide the first numbers. So the first one, we've got 20 and 15. Trick is, you've got to find a number that goes into both 20 and 15. Well, I automatically look at 20 and 15, and I know that 5 goes into both of them. So I'm going to divide them both by 5. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. 5, 10, 15, 20. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So really what you're doing is reducing the fraction. So if it was 20/15ths, we know that that's not a proper fraction, right? In this case, we'd even go further, but and this is an improper fraction, right? But we need to find the greatest common factor. To reduce it, the most we can reduce it, we need the biggest number that goes into both. For this question, you don't need to worry about the biggest number. You just need to find a number that goes into both. So I hope you're still hanging on to your minute math, because knowing those math facts is wicked important. Okay, pause the video, go do number 2. Number 3, we're going back to factors. What are factors? What are the factors of 6? So I'm looking for all the numbers that can multiply evenly to make 6. So the factors of 6 are 1 and 6, 2 and 3, and then so if I go 1 goes into it, 2 goes into it, 3 goes into it, 4 does not, 5 does not, 6 does. So those are all my factors. 1, 6, 2, and 3. So in this question, you're going to go back to a couple of months ago, and you're going to just find the factors. Start, so say the number's 18. Start at 1. 1 goes into it. Does 2 go into it? Yes. Does 3 go into it? Yes. Does 4 go into it? No. Does 5 go into it? No. Does 6 go into it? Yes. 7? No. 8? No. 9? Yes. 10? No. 11, 12, 13, all the way up to 18 is the next one. Okay? And unless it's a square number, it'll always be an even number of factors because everybody will have a partner, right? So if it was 25, 1 goes into it, 2 doesn't, 3 doesn't, 4 doesn't, 5 does, but it goes in twice. 5 times 5 is 25. But you don't need to write 5 twice. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, nothing. 1, 5, and 25. So unless it's a square number where a number times itself, you'll always have pairs. So like 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Okay? Go find all the factors for 10, 12, 30, and 75. Then in part B, you're gonna find the GCF. What does the GCF mean? Well, seeing as we've been talking about factors, the F is probably factors, right? The other two, you should remember this. We had GCFs and LCMs. GCFs are greatest common factor. That's the biggest number that goes into both of them. That means you're going to reduce this ratio as far as it can go to lowest terms. Okay? So in part B, you're going to look for the greatest common factor between two of the numbers from part A. So you don't have to think too hard about it. Just in part B, 10 and 12, your factors are right above it. You've just found them. Find your greatest common factors. Pause the video. Oh, and then there's a part C. Write each ratio in lowest terms by dividing both terms by the greatest common factor. So in the first part, you're finding the factors. In the second part, you're finding the greatest common factor. In the third part, you're going to divide the numbers by their greatest common factor. So 30 and 12. They've asked for the lowest terms in this. So I know that let's start this way. 30. What are my factors of 30? 1 goes into it and his partner's 30. 2 goes into it and his partner's 15. 3 goes into it, his partner's 10. 4 does not go in. 5 goes in and his partner's 6, and then my next one would be 6 and I already have it. So I know I've got all my factors of 30. And then the other one I need is my factors of 12. So 1 goes in and their partner's 12. 2 goes in and their partner's 6. 3 goes in and their partner's 4. And then 4 goes in and I've already got it, so I know I've got them all. So what's the biggest number that both of these have in common? They both have 1. This one doesn't have 30. They both have 2. This one doesn't have 15. They both have 3, so we're up to 3. This one doesn't have 10. This one doesn't have 5. They both have 6. So the greatest common factor is 6. So if 30 to 12, and now I need to divide them both by 6. So how many 6s make 30? 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. So that's going to be 5. 6 goes in 5 times. How many times does 6 go into 12? 6, 12. 2 times. And so when you find your answer, there should be no number other than 1 that goes into both of those numbers, which means you can't reduce it anymore, okay? So you have to find the greatest common factor and divide it into both the numbers they've asked you to do, okay? Go finish number 3 and then we'll finish up with number 4. Okay, write each ratio in lowest terms. So 25 and 36. If you're good at minute math, you should be able to think, what goes into 25 and 36? Well, 5 goes into 25, but it doesn't go into 36, so that's not going to work. Oh, duh. 25 and 35. Sorry. Okay, so now I know. I was puzzled there for a minute about what was going to go into 25 and 36. What goes into 25 and 35? 5 goes in. How many times does 5 go into 25? 5. How many times does 5 go into 7? 7. So my lowest terms of 25 to 35 is 5 to 7. And there should be no number that goes into 5 and 7 other than 1, and there is not. So I know this is lowest terms. Okay? So for the rest of them, you just need to find the biggest number that goes into both. I'm going to give you a little hint on the last one. 90 to 75. Okay? You could do this in more than one step. So what I did was I put 5 into both of them. So 90 divided by 5 I know is 18. And 75 divided by 5 is 15. I know that there is a number that goes into 18 and 15. I know that 3 goes into both, right? So this time I did 5. This time I'm going to do 3. So 18 divided by 3 is 6. 15 divided by 3 is 5. There is no number that goes in to 6 and 5, so I know this is lowest terms. So if you can't come up with a big number right away, reduce it once, then reduce it a second time. Now, turns out 5 and 3, if I had done this all in one step, the number would have been 15. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 goes into 90 and 75. However, I got the right answer. The fact that I did it in 2 steps makes no difference. I'm not going to take marks off of you for doing it in more than 1 step. Okay? As long as we end up with the right answer at the end, that's all that matters. Okay? Finish that up. Have a fantastic Easter, and I'll see you on Tuesday.